I think this trend really started with Pepsi. So love Pepsi. And now we're seeing a lot more leaders do this. So it's encouraging to see so many of these shippers bringing their full teams, right? So from Pepsi to Unilever to New Balance and Heineken and more, we'll be bringing full teams to be able to divide and conquer. So I think being that Manifest is really the only place that is truly end-to-end for these shippers, they're able to not only have their own meetings on site, but firsthand see, touch, feel, interact with the different technologies that they've been thinking about possibly integrating into their businesses. So being able to have that hands-on experience, as well as the in-person, having those conversations with their current customers and clients that are there. So really addressing what are the specific problems that they're looking to solve and being able to find those solutions at Manifest.
Welcome back to the ThinkFreight Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today, and a warm welcome back to Pam Simon, the conference chair at Manifest. Pam, thanks for coming back on the show. It's great to have you here again.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Last year we dove into a lot of your background and kind of the origins of Manifest. This time I want to focus a little bit different, kind of how the event has evolved and kind of what's in store for this year in 2025. So why don't we start off and kick things off with how things kind of went last year, and what are some of kind of the key moments from last year that you take away?
So last year's show, or technically this year, right?
Right.
Because it was earlier this year, was 45 executives from 5,000 executives from 45 different countries, and over 60,000 connections were made at the event that we know of. So, the amount of new business and connections and just the ripple effect that it's going to have is really what's so incredible to see. So we've had tremendous growth and really excited actually for the one that's coming up. We're 59 days away from Manifest 2025. And so we're expecting 6,000 executives from 50 different countries. And for those of you that don't know, Manifest is the premier, the largest end-to-end supply chain event. So it's a full ecosystem, and we're attracting investors of all stages, startups and technology of all stages, and shippers from fresh, pharma, big box, CPG, you name it. So really anyone that is moving goods around the world or investing in those processes will be at Manifest.
It really sounds like from the 2024 event to the 2025 event, there's already, it's already shaping up to be a much bigger event, even from last year, which was a pretty big event. So what are maybe some of those improvements you guys have made to make the event even more streamlined, even more fun, and even more engaging for the audience?
So first, very excited that we are moving to the Venetian.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
Very excited. So definitely worth staying on site and taking advantage of all the different networking and activations that we have lined up there. For this year, or going into the next show, for the first day of the show, we have our kickoff symposiums, including maritime, sustainability, intermodal, and we're adding cold chain. So that's a new addition. Additionally, we listen, we get a lot of feedback and requests from all different areas. So we will be incorporating more case studies from shippers. And we've also established a whole kind of program for chief supply chain officers to be able to connect with each other and share knowledge and information, in addition to office hours where startups and investors have the opportunity to connect and discuss potential funding rounds.
No, that's fantastic. I definitely want to dive more into the shippers and case studies here in a little bit, because I think that's going to be one of the really, really fun things, especially on the broker side and the freight forwarding side, for everyone to kind of understand kind of their impacts, what they're looking for, and just kind of get that, kind of be able to pick their brain a little bit. I think that's really amazing. You guys have been able to put that together.
Thank you.
For the 2025 agenda, it's going to be released here pretty soon. Can you give us kind of maybe a sneak peek at some more of the maybe topics or sessions that you're the most, kind of excited about going into this next event?
Yes. So we've got a jam-packed few days
Yeah.
with 7 different tracks. So definitely plan ahead. We'll be hitting topics around the future of work, cybersecurity, last mile, fulfillment, procurement, returns, nearshoring, obviously with cold, looking at temperature control, food insecurity, medical, and then
Yeah.
of course automation and AI. I'm excited to hear, DHL will be discussing how to harness the megatrends that are transforming our industry.
Yeah.
We'll hear actionable steps to overcome infrastructure challenges and exploring zero emissions transport with Daimler and Green Lane. So I think I'm really
That'll be really
excited to
cool.
hear from them. Yeah. Drone deliveries with Zipline. I've known Keller for a long time, so it's exciting to finally, have him up on my stage talking about it.
Right.
Um, Also, I mean, a big one, David Clark, and his
Yeah.
team will be discussing the current state of supply chain and unpacking a lot of things. I know he's announced a bunch of news recently, so I think we'll be diving further into that on stage, which is exciting. Um, as well as enabling connectivity and transparency across your global supply chains with Verizon and New Balance and Bombardier. So really, I mean, I feel like I'm really excited about everything. Like we've been having prep calls all week. And frankly, every conversation that I've had has just made me more and more excited about what's going to unfold on stage.
I think that's absolutely fantastic that you guys have brought so many different aspects to the to just a few days, right? I mean, this is just a short event. It sounds like we're gonna have like a 7 or 10 day event. No, this is just a several day event, and like we're packing so much into it. So with the potential ILA strike coming up. Right before the manifest event with the incoming administration, what kind of trends or potentially even innovations are manifest seeing or hearing on some of those calls that maybe are going to be top of mind during the event during this year's lineup.
Yes, definitely. Tariffs and pricing has come up in a
Yeah.
lot of conversations. So I think we'll have more to discuss once some of those things become made a little bit clearer, I think in
Right.
January. So I think there's a little bit of a waiting period to see like what will come. But I think generally we're still seeing people looking into diversifying their supply chain when it comes to nearshoring and reshoring, looking at the different approaches of how you can have your products
Yeah.
closer to you, not just the products, but also the ingredients or the pieces that make that up, right? So looking at the full procurement process and sourcing to make sure that if there are disruptions or strikes or tariffs or things that come up, there are plans, B, C, D down the alphabet to be able to solve for when these things happen.
Yeah, COVID really kind of brought to light how fragile our supply chains are. And even though, COVID started, this is, in 2025, it'll be going on 6 years. Um, it's wild to think about, right? But we're still kind of changing and adapting to those measures from 6 years ago. And we're still not even, I think, close to kind of being where we need to be or where manufacturers and shippers feel like they need to be if there is another kind of pandemic or lockdown like we saw before. So it's just really interesting to kind of see that mitigation and kind of some of those risks they're still looking at from that 6 year period.
Yeah, the ripple effects are pretty crazy. And then, you're just having additional things pop up, right? These black swan events are no longer so black swan.
Right.
So it's really coming up with plans and having a system in place or the people lined up that are going to jump in for those critical situations when they arise.
I want to dive into some of those case studies we kind of opened up with because I think that those are really going to be fantastic for our audience specifically. So you guys, I believe I heard is you guys have major case studies, Mattel, Microsoft, Alibaba. Maybe can you share kind of maybe a sneak peek as to what you know from kind of maybe those sessions and what attendees can expect to learn? What a sneak peek into the event?
For the case studies, I don't want to give too much away just because I feel like it's really important to hear directly from these
Absolutely.
executives how they went about it, what like the different processes that went into the different partnerships that they make, how they rolled out their execution, and what systematic changes they were able to, you know, roll out throughout their entire organization.
Right.
Um, because everything will have a ripple effect from that. So I don't want to take too much away from that. I would just say make sure that you attend those sessions, because
Yeah.
from the prep calls, it's there's a lot of really exciting meat that I think people will be able to walk away with actionable insights that they could take back to their businesses.
How have you like ensured that shippers kind of have like that central role in the conversation, right? I think everyone wants to have them at their event, but they are tougher to bring to the event and have it be meaningful for them as well. So how do you add value for them, but also how does adding them bring value to the event?
So, I mean, I think this trend really started with Pepsi. So,
Yeah.
love Pepsi, and now we're seeing a lot more leaders do this. So, it's encouraging to see so many of these shippers bringing their full teams, right? So,
Yeah.
from Pepsi to Unilever to New Balance and Heineken and more, we'll be bringing full teams to be able to divide and conquer. So, I
Wow.
think being that Manifest is really the only place that is truly end to end for these shippers. They're able to not only have their own meetings on site, but firsthand see, touch, feel, interact with the different technologies that they've been thinking about possibly integrating into their businesses. So being able to have that hands-on experience, as well as the in-person, having those conversations with their current customers and clients that are there.
Yeah.
So really addressing what are the specific problems that they're looking to solve, and being able to find those solutions at Manifest. So the concept of divide and conquer, right? Because
Yeah.
these executives and whoever is attending, you're going to have lots of meetings, which is great. But there's also a lot of engaging content sessions that you don't want to miss. And then everything that's happening across the floor, whether it's testing out new technologies or, furthering your relationships with your partners, customers, clients, through some weird shared unique experiences that we have
Yeah.
across the expo.
Yeah, when you're able to meet and shake hands with people, it really moves the needle a lot more than just having the virtual calls and emails and text back and forth. Those are all really good, and it really does help build relationships. It's kind of very fundamental. But when you can meet someone in person, shake their hand, have dinner with them, break bread with them, it opens up a whole different world, and you're able to really get that feel for how they're going to be as a partner, how they're going to interact, how they're going to like manage your freight if you bring them into your network, or whether that's on a vendor side, how they're going to interact on the vendor side. So it's just a really good network. Like you said, it's a good networking event to be able to meet people kind of all at the same time, and kind of show off and be a little bit of who you are and have fun.
It's really across the board. What's exciting about
Yeah.
it is, from whether you're looking for funding or technology
Yeah.
partners, market insights, networking to expand into new markets, right? We have companies and executives from over 50 countries. So if you're looking to expand into one of those new markets, you need local friends on the ground in
Yep.
order to do that successfully. So you're able to have those conversations. You're able to connect with customers and solutions that maybe you would be a good fit for you, and some agreements get signed right on the floor. It's also good to see what your competition is up to and have that
Absolutely.
open dialogue. I think the best compliment, or I guess feedback, that I've heard was that Manifest really feels like your LinkedIn is coming to life.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's such a great when you're able to have that feedback from your event to say that you've kind of won in the event space, right? Because yeah, exactly. So let me ask you, what do you think has kind of contributed to like the rapid growth and the rapid success that Manifest has had that's turned it into making your LinkedIn feed feel like you're like right there?
I mean, because it really is it's the central place that you're able to have these conversations with every person or relationship that's connected to your business. So from investors,
Yeah.
customers, startups, support, as well as, executives from ports and airports, to be able to understand some of the constraints or areas that they're investigating as well. And then the global aspect, right? So as an investor, being able to sit down and actually have a conversation with all of your portfolio companies that are spread out around the world in one
Yeah.
place is super beneficial. And that goes for any company that's wanting to connect with their customers, right? So having those in-person meetings really is truly invaluable. And we've seen a lot of folks as well being able to walk the floor and see, touch, feel, interact with technologies alongside their clients to understand, like, is this going to work for me? And how can we implement this? How long is it going to take? Like, let's sign, let's get going. So it's been really productive for a lot of folks. And I can say I'm constantly hearing of new funding rounds that are being closed because of investors and startups meeting at Manifest.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing of new customers and clients that have happened, from connecting at the show. I've been fortunate enough to do a few Fest Live interviews with some of those folks to really showcase, okay, you met at Manifest, here's what's next. And
Right.
It's been amazing to see the amount of new business that has really come from the show.
Something I heard a lot after Manifest 2024 event was your ability to focus on innovation, especially because innovation, especially in logistics right now, is moving so fast. How do you kind of decide what companies, technologies, or startups to even showcase at the event?
We listen to the industry, truly. I'm
Yeah.
talking, I think our entire team, we've all had industry experience and knowledge about it. So we're constantly talking to executives from all different verticals, trying to understand what are their problems, what are the challenges that they're facing. And then we're going out and we're finding those solutions, right? And
Yeah.
bringing those people together. So I read a lot of different news outlets from all over the world, as well as white papers and reports, as is my team. And then from the
Right.
conversations that we have, I would say there's a number of folks that I have regular catch ups with. And I feel every time I get off the phone, I have a whole list of homework that sends me on a little journey of more investigating and research. So it's great that people are so open to having these conversations.
You had mentioned some of these, massive shippers bringing their whole teams to be able to meet with people. That it really goes to show how Manifest has become one of those premier like networking opportunity events. So, like, what are some ways, from your experience of being, hosting this event for so many years? What are some of the ways attendees can like make their most out of their time to connect with everyone, but also be able to attend some of these events and these speaking engagements to make sure that they're like you said, using their best time wisely here.
Okay. Plan ahead.
Yeah.
Plan ahead. This is not manifest. If you just show up, it's going to be very overwhelming and you will miss things. Then you'll feel FOMO for missing out. And I don't want you to feel that. So I would say the app goes live about a month before the show. As soon as it's out, get on and start connecting with people and start setting up meetings. So you can already within our app schedule meetings and start filling out your own agenda for when you get to the show. Look at the agenda of content and figure out what are the sessions that you definitely have to go to.
Yeah.
Okay. Block those out and make sure I always tell people get to the room, 5-10 minutes early, because the people in the room are the people that you're going to want to talk to, because you're all interested in the same thing that's happening. So organize around the content that you want to make sure you're going to, as well as meetings. And have a plan. Go into it, like, as I said, divide and conquer. So I can tell you from some folks, they look at their team and say, okay, you're going to take meetings all day long.
Yep.
You're going to go to the floor. You're going to go to these sessions. And then usually companies will have a whole kind of debrief right after. And then the other thing that I would say, coming to Manifest, I guarantee you will know other people there, right? Your customers are there, your partners, your clients, some of the technology that you use. Reach out to people before you get there. That way you're making sure to get that face-to-face time with these folks, right? So, because it's going to be busy. They're going to be doing other things as well. So you want to make sure you get FaceTime blocked off with your current customers and clients, because it's always important to re-establish and push that relationship. And then also obviously leave some time for being able to explore the floor and walk around, and talk to your other friends and partners that have been to Manifest before. There are lots of different third party, events and activities
Yeah.
and dinners and happy hours and cocktails that other folks are hosting. So it's always important to connect with the folks that you already know that are going to be there and try to coordinate with some of them as well when it comes to some of the dinners or activities.
Yeah, I think that's really spot on advice. And something I definitely want to say is as soon as that app drops, like people need to start booking meetings and connecting with people, because I was at an event a couple months ago, and like this, if you're not really organized and set up your calendar and meeting with people the way you want to, you can just be a very unorganized mess. So like you said, you have to really make sure you're spending money to come to this event. So you need to make sure you're utilizing that time, meeting with the people you need to meet with, and making sure you're getting time on their calendar as soon as possible, because everyone is trying to meet with all these different companies. So if you're able to kind of snipe one of those early spots, like, back to our broker days, we had to get up early and go out and find those prospects early. It's the same thing. You're hunting prospects at this point. Yeah. So you got to get up early. As soon as that app drops, start connecting with people and getting calendar time for them.
And have your pitch down. I would say
yes.
have your pitch down. And
yep.
In addition to having your pitch down, I would also throw in, have your ask.
Yeah.
If there's something specific that you're looking for or a certain problem, be upfront about it, right? Like it is, Absolutely. As you said, it is busy. People are excited and they want to talk to you and they want to hear what's going on. So you have the attention of everybody you want, which is great. Make the most of that time by being prepared with your pitch and what you're looking for, right? So if you're a startup talking to an investor, make sure that it's the right investor for you. And if not, ask if they have other ones that they would recommend.
Exactly.
So don't be shy in that category.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. That kind of leads to my next question. For a lot of these entrepreneurs and startups who will be attending Manifest, what are some of those like unique opportunities, like you said, a lot of the happy hours that other companies are putting on while they're at the event? Like aside from just setting up calendar time, is there any like specific investor panels going on that they may be able to like catch people as they're coming off stage or anything like that?
Yes. So we always have an investor panel at the show, which is very well attended. And we had the prep call for that recently, and it's definitely going to be an exciting conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Additionally, something that I've added for next year is an M&A session. So
that's cool.
We've seen a lot more mergers and acquisitions over the last few years, less IPO, and even companies starting that acquisition process maybe earlier than they had been in the past.
Yeah.
So we are going to have a whole conversation dedicated to M&A and what that process looked like, what's the market, appetite, and how you can prepare yourself and your business for when the time's right. You're ready for it.
Yeah, to touch on that, I just saw an article, I think yesterday, that said, Canada's Mullen Group for 2025 already has like $150 million set aside for mergers and acquisitions. This is something that the companies are thinking about a lot more than they ever have. They're growing through, buying their competitors and getting into regions that they want to get into and just going that way. And we're seeing it already.
Exactly. So that was one of the driving forces of really making sure that was a conversation that we dive further into at the next show.
Kind of looking forward, like the next 3 to 5 years, what's the vision for Manifest to continue to grow? And how do you see it kind of continuing to evolve as kind of the industry changes? We've seen a lot of like AI companies pop up with, AI phone calls and AI being able to negotiate rates and things like that. So how do you guys kind of continuously try to evolve and match those trends?
Well, I feel like when it comes to AI comes up in every single conversation that I have.
Yeah.
Truthfully. So it is discussed in every conversation. It will come up. We do have a few sessions that are really dedicated to AI and generative AI and what that looks like. But as far as Manifest goes, I don't want to give too much away, but I would say there's supply chain covers a wide variety of areas that we can dive into, which is exciting. As I said,
Yeah.
we added cold chain for next year. So I think that there are additional verticals within supply chain that we will be drilling down and focusing in more on, which opens up a lot more when it comes to partnerships and collaboration across the industry,
Yeah.
as well as other regions, right? So we're exploring other areas as well.
Diving into cold chain a little bit, what are some of the like main topics of cold chain that you guys are going to be focusing on? I love that the cold chain space, so I'm very curious as to kind of what you guys maybe delving into there.
Yes. So on the med tech side of things, we
Oh, that's
have,
cool.
a number of really amazing folks that will be discussing, for vaccines and moving medicine, and what that process looks like, as well as the asset management and asset tracking and IoT that goes into that. So
Yeah.
focusing on real time risk and security, the amount of product that gets destroyed or lost every year due to a temperature related issue, that has costly repercussions. So looking
Yeah.
to address like what can companies do to be more proactive in these types of scenarios, and what are the different technologies that they can be adding on to their containers or shipments to make sure that, if something happens in real time, you're able to salvage some of those issues. We'll also dive into, food insecurity and food deserts and the movement of food and perishables, as well as the, infrastructure side of things and energy and sustainability. I mean, it really does, when it comes to emissions, it does creep up quite a bit on the cold
Yeah.
side. So exploring energy transition and the different ways that you can apply that, as well as offset it. So with carbon credits or other areas that we can explore. Um,
It's interesting to talk a little bit about emissions because I saw recently an Australian company who was looking to start adding to all of their reefer boxes. They're looking to add solar panels all across the 53 feet or however long their trailers are, and kind of utilize that method to cool instead of utilizing fuel and things like that. So it's just getting really creative in this space because there is a lot of, I mean, like, you've got 53 feet of space there. Like there's a
yeah.
lot of time, especially like here in Texas and in Miami, where you're at, we have a lot of sunshine, right? We can utilize that sunshine for something, right? So I think it's really cool. Some of the cool game changing things that are kind of popping up, whether that's cold chain or just all these other spaces, especially that you guys are bringing together. Because, there's a lot I don't know and I want to learn about, especially in this space, because it's just such a wide space. Like there's so much that this that this space incorporates.
I know, that's what makes it exciting, right? Like there's always something. I'm always learning something new. So
Yeah.
that's why I feel like it keeps evolving, because I'm constantly learning. So we're growing together.
With the event on the horizon, I think you said it's 59 days away.
Yes.
What excites you the most? Like, what are you looking forward to the most? And what are you hoping, like the attendees, like myself and other people who may be listening that are just kind of on the edge about, wanting to come, what are you hoping that they most take away and looking forward to about this event?
Well, I guess for me, I'm most excited just to see everybody and be with everyone in person,
Yeah.
right? So like I'm talking to everyone throughout the year, which is Zoom and great, but as you and I both know, and like nothing beats an in-person
Yeah.
experience and that catch up. So for me, and everyone is so all over the world, right? Like, I mean, I was talking with someone in Singapore earlier this morning, and then Israel after that. So it's like, these are places that I don't get to go to all the time,
Right.
right? Like, I'm not bounced. I'm not Euro traveling right now. So, at least,
Not anymore.
well, I have a 7-year-old. I'm not like, nomad lifestyle doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Had a good run, but so I'm excited to see everybody in person. There are a lot of announcements that will be made at the show. I obviously can't share what they are, but I'm very excited for when we're able to publicly talk about some of these things that I think are going to be really exciting and transformative. So personally, that's what I'm really excited about.
Heck yeah.
I think for the audience and for anyone that's attending, you should be excited about just the whole experience of having everyone you could ever want to talk to in one place, whether you know them or they will be your friends in the future, right? Like it's such an amazing opportunity to be able to connect with, your partners and clients that are all over the world, your investors. You can walk away with a lot of new business and a lot of education is like, how is your tech holding up to others? Right? Are there things that you could be doing differently? If there's companies that want to pilot with you, and then when they go through that process, there's new technologies and new streams of business that could pop up. So for me, I always love to see the real world change that happens after meeting at Manifest.
Yeah.
So I think, going into it, like if you're debating on like any events to go to throughout the entire year, this is the one that this is the only one you really need to go to.
I mean, the stats kind of speak for themselves, right? I mean, for anyone who's on the edge, I'll kind of tell you these 1,500 plus shippers are going to be there. There's going to be over 1,200 startups and investors. I mean, those two stats alone should get you extremely excited to just want to come to this event, to meet all the awesome people. There's going to be so many great events. Are you guys having the puppies back this year?
Of course.
Of course. Puppies. Guys, come see a cute puppy. Come see 1,500 plus shippers. Come see Pam. Come see myself. We'd love to see you guys. It's going to be such a great event. We're looking, at February 10th through the 12th. It's going to be in Las Vegas. What a better time to get some sunshine, get away from the snow. I know a lot of our friends are in Chicago and all these other countries where it may be cold. Come hang out at the Venetian, have fun. Pam, any closing thoughts before we close out here?
I would say get there early because the first day is packed with the symposiums, and then obviously stay through the end for our after party. We have Flowrida.
So much fun.
Coming from Miami, I'm thrilled.
Hell
and if you haven't booked your hotel stay yet, please, we have room blocks. We have a few rooms left at the Venetian. Definitely recommend staying on site. And it's going to be even bigger than this year's show. So comfortable shoes.
Absolutely. Pam, thank you so much for coming back on the show. If our audience wants to get in touch, if they want to learn more, how can they learn a little bit more?
Manifestvegas.com and sign up to be an insider and for our newsletter. The newsletter is weekly and super informative. And as an insider, you'll get, updates for everybody else on what's happening.
And you can secure your spot if you're looking for tickets, manifest.com/ThinkFreight. Use our code. You'll make sure to save some money there. And make sure to check out Pam and all of her links. They'll be in our comments along with our discount code. If you guys like today's podcast, please give it a like and review. Helps us out a ton. And we do drop 3 weekly newsletters as well, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at thinkfreight.io. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. And don't forget to think freight.